Now, let me be clear. This is going to ruffle some feathers, and the reason we're going out there and making the video anyway is because I kinda like starting crap, and you know what? Conversations like these are the types of things that I live and die for. I absolutely love the crazy ideas that come out of nowhere and that get the people talking. Sure, I don't like to go out there necessarily and say, hey, this is what I think this player should be a target for this team, etc., etc. I usually make videos about stuff that is already being talked about. And when it comes to these two teams, when it comes to this player, hey, I've been seeing this exact conversation point bring itself up multiple times over the past day or so. And as a result, we're seeing some articles, fan-made articles, I will say, not like Friedman or Saravelli going out there and saying it, but some articles, and a lot of responses to the idea at hand. So, without further ado, let's talk about the Montreal Canadiens, let's talk about the New Jersey Devils, and a very particular link between their first and second overall picks in the 2022 draft. Now, if you remember, back in 2022, the Montreal Canadiens had themselves the first overall pick. They took Juraj Slafkovský. The second overall pick belonged to New Jersey, and they took fellow Slovak and Juraj Slafkovský's friend, Simon Nemec. This was a crazy, crazy moment for Slovak hockey. You could debate this might not ever happen again, where two Slovaks are taken 1 and 2 to kick off the NHL draft. Add to this the pick of Filip Mesar in the late first round, which cemented Slovakia's reign in this round here, and you have yourselves a recipe for a lot of positive press. Now, though, it's 2024, and the New Jersey Devils are using Simon Nemec in a pretty interesting way. In fact, they're not using him. Because right now, the 6'1" right-handed defenseman has gotten scratched for a few games now, and it looks like heading into today's game against the Vancouver Canucks, he is very well on his way to getting scratched again. The reason I say that is because of this tweet made by Amanda Stein from yesterday. This was the New Jersey Devils lines and pairings from yesterday's practice, October 29th in Vancouver. Looks like Bastian will return, and Justin Dowling will center that spot previously held by Curtis Lazar. McDermott is evening things out at practice as the 8th D-man. And you can see here that the Devils have Simon Nemec as their 4th pairing left side guy. Interesting deployment for a right-handed player. And the thing is, in the responses to this Amanda Stein tweet, you're seeing some Devils fans saying, hey, free Simon Nemec. What is Simon Nemec doing? They should send him down to Utica. This and that and the other thing. Nemec, just in case you needed the update, he's got 1 point in 9 games so far with New Jersey after posting up a 19-point season in 60 games last year. I would say that Simon Nemec has top 2 pairing potential, and he is one of these all-round versatile guys that can, if everything goes well, become a total stud on the blue line. A first pairing of Simon Nemec and Luke Hughes seemed to have been the dream for New Jersey Devils fans. And while Luke has recently returned to the Devils lineup, you do have Nemec who is trying to make his way and establish his own role. This is where we talk about the Montreal Canadiens, because this all started, I would say, from 2 days ago, because Patrick Talon went out there and tweeted this out. It had 75,000 views saying that the Montreal Canadiens should absolutely overpay for Simon Nemec. As a result, you're taking a look at the tweet right here. There are a bunch of replies, a bunch of retweets, a bunch of quotes and stuff. A lot of people started bringing up the idea of Montreal and Simon Nemec. And it got so big, I would say, that you even had a few articles that were written about this, and even some Devils fans were going out there and talking about this too. If the New Jersey Devils trade Nemec to the Habs for the reported package, it's just stupid. Trade Casey to them or save Nemec to get Brady when the time is right. Trading Nemec for anything but a star is beyond me. And then there were people talking about, oh, what package is there? Logan Mailloux, Newhook, Mesar. Okay, really, I don't want to talk about that because I feel like those ideas and the trade package that was labeled out is just kind of out of nowhere, not really anything substantiated. It's just people tossing out their takes. But the idea of Simon Nemec getting traded to Montreal, let's just focus on that here. It's already been reported that the Montreal Canadiens would want some sort of a top 4 defenseman, a guy that they could thrust in to their roster right now that will help them in the future, but who could also help them win some games in 2024-2025. We had discussed Elliot Friedman's suggestion of Matt Benning from the San Jose Sharks, and I said, hey, it's interesting that he's being labeled, but I don't necessarily think he moves the needle all too much to even be worth taking a look at for Montreal. That guy has been kind of in and out of the San Jose Sharks lineup, so what more with the Montreal Canadiens? When it comes to Simon Nemec, at the very least you could argue that he's already playing on a D-core that's a lot better than some of the San Jose guys that we have seen. Having Simon Nemec in a more developmental role isn't really a sin for the New Jersey Devils, but the fact that they are continuously playing him in what is essentially the 4th pairing, they're scratching him for 3, almost 4 games in a row, they're not giving him any AHL time, and they're just letting him marinate in the press box, you kind of have to wonder, is this the right course of action to develop this player? Now sure, you could debate whether or not the Devils are really prioritizing the development of Simon Nemec in 2024-2025 when the team is projected to being a Stanley Cup favorite. Do they really have the time to commit these resources and this specific ice time to a guy like Nemec when they could go with a lot more of a guaranteed pickup and just kind of roll with their regular roster and try to maintain their Stanley Cup contender status? Not necessarily saying that Simon Nemec is going to ruin the team and is going to cause them to lose, but do you want to take that risk? That's the entire conversation here. So for Montreal to dive into headfirst the Simon Nemec path, it is interesting to me to think about him as a potential right-handed defenseman target because, of course, he does fit the bill. He was decently productive last year, and I don't want to say he's been terrible this year. Rather, I do think it's interesting to talk about where exactly this guy could fit with the Canadiens long-term if the Habs did decide to make a trade for him, and how cool of a story it would be. Imagine taking the 3 Slovak dudes in the first round in 2022, 1st, 2nd, and 26th overall, and putting them all on the Montreal Canadiens at some point in the near future. Like, the headlines would just write themselves. But of course, you would need to have yourself some belief that these guys could be good and they could mesh and they could work out well in the organization here. For Nemec, he's just such a wild card at this point in his career because he hasn't really had that opportunity to fully be a star yet. I mean, I don't doubt that it's still possible in his game. The guy's only 20 after all. But for Nemec and his overall profile, if you're a New Jersey Devils fan, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Do you think there really is a possibility for a trade here? My very subjective opinion here kind of throws this idea back on Montreal Canadiens fans who just saw the idea of Nemec getting scratched over and over again and said, hey, the Habs should go out there and get that dude. It's usually what happens with Montreal, I'm not going to lie, but I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think this is actually a plausible idea? What kind of return would you want from Montreal if you're the New Jersey Devils? And if you're a Habs fan, what do you think about this idea in general? Thoughts in the comment section below about a Simon Nemec trade potentially to the Montreal Canadiens. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.